to Lessons from the Front. And in today's game, I'll be facing Vern Lim's Chinese army. That included some broadswords, so I was quite excited for this one. In a 1,000 point bolt action game, hosted by Rahim at Expedimix here in Katong in Singapore. As you can see, our 6x4 foot table included a central road, some rural farmland, some dry paddy fields, and a number of buildings that represented the village of Zhongchuang in central China. The fighting for the village of Zhongchuang had been raging on for weeks, and Lieutenant Lim and his men were determined to break the deadlock on the outskirts of the once tranquil fishing village. Lim gazed through his field glasses, patiently waiting for the preliminary barrage to take effect. Lieutenant, is it clear to go now? Asked his second-in-command, but there was no reply from Lim as he calmly chewed on a stalk of grass, eyes focused across at the enemy. In the meanwhile, across the waterless paddy fields, Lieutenant Bergeson's 4 detachments were pinned in their foxholes, the earth-shattering explosions forcing every defender's head down. Gradually, the hellish rupture of incoming artillery shells died off, and the men from Nippon knew all too well what would happen next. Yet another battle was about to begin. Lim gave a shrill blast on his whistle, and men from the interior, both warlord and republican, emerged from their hidden positions and began the advance towards the hated invaders. Lim had sent a diversionary squad to his right and opted for an all-out attack on his left. The Japanese had proven stubborn over the past few weeks, but Lim was determined to bulldoze his way through to victory today. Just as the supporting howitzer had set up to support Lim's left flank assault, a shot from the central building rang out, and one of the howitzer's crew dropped dead. Lim immediately ordered the howitzer to turn its aim at the apartment block from whence the shot had rung out. A strange duel between gun and telescopic rifle then commenced, but it was the larger caliber weapon that triumphed, and soon the threat from the Japanese sniper had been eliminated. First blood to the Chinese attackers. Bergeson, having seen Lim's intent, had his reserves mount their bicycles, and soon he and his men were pedaling to reinforce his right flank against the incoming Chinese hordes. The speed of Bergeson's reinforcements, supported by a Jihai tank, saw them enter and set up good firing positions in the buildings and tree lines facing the oncoming Chinese warriors. What followed was a devastating exchange of small arms fire. And although Lim's men were able to inflict a few casualties on the defenders, it was Bergeson's men who gained the upper hand. Little by little, Lim's fanatic warriors were pushed back into the jungle, with the Japanese in hot pursuit. Lim ordered a white scout car forward, carrying explosives and brave men willing to sacrifice themselves against the hulk of the Japanese tank. But by now, the Japanese had pressed forward into better positions. With a shout of "Banzai!" the squad of Bergeson's men rushed forward and quickly dealt with the approaching threat. Not to be deterred, Lim had one final card to play. Waiting in a room with Lim was a flamethrower team, which he now pressed forward into the jungle, where his men had been regrouped. It was now or never for Lim's brave warriors, but just as they were set to make a final push towards Bergeson's rear lines, the skilled spotter of the Japanese medium mortar skillfully guided the bombs, which found its range and began to blast holes in Lim's line. Seeing an opportunity to crush the forces gathering in the jungle, Ferguson rushed into the jungle himself, SMG blazing, followed by 2 other fully strength squads. The Chi-Ha tank also rumbled forward and soon had the Chinese defenders throwing their arms up in surrender. Meanwhile, on Ferguson's left, his armored car had found the road open and had driven full speed into Lim's rear echelons, its MMGs rattling as deadly poison, mowing mortar crew and infantry down where they had stood. In one last-ditched effort to stem the tide, Lim's T-26 jolted forward to relieve the beleaguered men in the woods. But it was too little, too late, with the last of Lim's brave men withdrawing to fight another day, and the village of Chunchuang still in the hands of the Japanese. Okay, so Vern and I here have just had a 1,000 point game. My Japanese against his Chinese here at BQ in Singapore. So Vern, how did you enjoy that game?
I enjoyed the game. There are many close moments.
Yeah. What is the highlight, would you say?
The highlight is the duel between his sniper and my artillery pieces.
Yeah.
He hurt my howitzer first, but I took it out eventually.
Yeah. No, he smashed my sniper in that bullet. My highlight was I had my very first assault on a vehicle with infantry, and I was quite afraid of that vehicle because in that vehicle you had that suicide guy, right?
Yes, I got near trying to bomb his tank.
Yeah, but I assaulted him with an infantry squad, and I took out that vehicle.
Yes.
So, did you have a good time?
Yes, a good time.
It was a very nice game. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay.